It is now September, which can only mean one thing, that by the end of this month, the next free title update for Sunbreak will be dropping. Last month, I really enjoyed the first title update. It featured some fantastic new additions and mechanics to the DLC, particularly with the new armor sets and weapons for the new monsters. And speaking of the new monsters, it has been a great experience in fighting them, especially with the Lucent Nagakuga, which I haven't fought before. Additionally, monsters that I've already fought recently in Iceborne, like the Seething Basil Keys and the Gold Raytheon, were a great experience, with the pacing and new moves that have been added to them. Now, I haven't really delved in too deep into the new investigations system just yet, because as sad as it sounds, I have just started grinding towards the initial anomaly quests. Yes, it has been 2 months now after the release of this game, and I'm just now in the middle of grinding out Afflicted materials. And it's even more sad because I haven't even reached the second stage of anomaly farming yet, the new Cure of crafting mechanic. Just a sad state of affairs of my playthrough with this game, just like my upload schedule for my let's play of this game, which is just fantastic. But regardless, Title Update 1 has been a solid add-on to Sunbreak, and when I get my ass sorted out to starting the augmenting with my new stuff in this game, my rating for the update will be even higher. Now, on to the second update, which from my guess should be dropping on the last week for this month. During the past couple of weeks, several features for the update was mentioned over on Twitter. Small mechanics like locking out your armor will be added so you can't sell them accidentally, which I kind of find a bit strange that they haven't implemented this feature earlier like with your talismans. Also, the cap for leveling out your anomaly investigations has increased to 100, which I can't really get too excited for because, as mentioned earlier, I have not gotten too deep into the anomaly investigations yet, as I haven't even gotten too deep into the regular anomaly quests at all. But I will get there, and hey, now that hard monsters like the Zinogre and the Astalos have their own Afflicted variants, we should be getting more new Afflicted monsters coming to us. The idea of getting Afflicted versions of Elder Dragons in this update could be insane, given the bloated health that Afflicted monsters already have, and mix that in with the well-known bloated health that most Elder Dragons have, and you got yourself a recipe for an interesting experience. Although it would be even more interesting to see monsters like the Gore Magala or even the Shigara Magala get Afflicted variants in this update. I mean, can you imagine fighting a monster whose gimmick is synonymous with a virus, getting infected with another virus, and then having to fight them in this horrifying state? Now, this idea is well beyond the capabilities for the devs to pull off, and it sort of sounds way too ridiculous to happen. But you could imagine the utter chaos of a frenzy/bloodblight fight. One could dream, but regardless I will settle for a Afflicted Rajang, if I even get to fighting him, that is. Now onto the new additions that we will be fighting. We have already seen a new debuting monster appearing in the Flaming Espinas a couple of weeks ago. My thoughts on this, that is a quite cool inclusion for the update, given that Espinas himself has been in the franchise for so many years, to finally be introduced in the mainline games, and then have his subspecies be introduced afterwards. I do believe that this subspecies has existed for roughly the same time as Espinas himself, so it is very cool to have another monster who has been present for so many years in the Frontier era to be introduced to the mainline games. Although I have been getting some vibes from other people on social media that this DLC has been introducing way too many fire-type monsters recently. In the first update, 3 out of the 4 monsters were fire-orientated, plus a handful of subspecies in the initial release of Sunbreak were all fire-based. But that is a discussion for another video. Frankly, there is a substantial amount of fire monsters in the DLC, but not too much that it saturates the rest of the roster. Regardless, Espinas has been my favorite fight in Sunbreak as a whole, so I'm definitely looking forward to fight this monster. Now moving on, next is the other new monster that will appear in this update. Literally everyone and their dog is thinking of the same thing when looking at this preview image of the roadmap. It's a Mizutsune, and it could be a variant of sorts. To further add more fire to this whole fire monster situation, a few people are guessing that this Mitsu monster could be a fire element variant. Now, I am here to say that with confidence, this is all just speculation from a minor crowd, and I'm fully confident that we are not looking at another fire-based variant of a monster. There is genuinely no excuse for it being a Fire Mitsu, and even worse, it might not even be a Mizutsune entirely. Before the trailer for Flaming Espinas, that silhouette for the second title update was very clear that it was an Espinas-like monster, because I do believe there are 2 subspecies for the Espinas, but the one below the Espinas silhouette is very ambiguous. Yes, the shadowy image does fit the body type of Mitsu with what looks like fins. I'm not entirely writing off the idea of a new Mitsu subspecies, given that Glavenus has his own back in Iceborne, so it would make sense for the Mitsu to be next in line to have his own. So if a new Mitsu monster gets introduced, then I'm all for it, because acidic Glavenus was actually an interesting addition back in Iceborne. Well, at least for me. Just hope there won't be a fire type, or else it's gonna be another Magma or Mudron situation on Twitter. So now we have mentioned 2 monsters that will be appearing in this title update for the DLC. With the topic of how many monsters we are getting this month, I would think that we will only have at most 3 additions for the update. The reason for this is that I do genuinely believe that this month is going to feature heavily on the anomaly hunting side of things. Going back to the newly introduced mechanics in the Cure Crafting, Investigations and Research Lab, the update is going to be a literal update on these said mechanics. I am thinking of an overhaul in how you can augment your equipment, like what they've done with Safijiva, or how they could change things up for the investigations further. Since the whole anomaly concept is Rise's equivalent to the Guiding Lands in Iceborne, I suspect that we are going to get a gradual evolution of the feature, like with how the Guiding Lands has evolved through the course of late 2019. Now let's finish this video off on what I think would be the 3rd monster. Now let's finish this video off with what I think would be that 3rd monster. The term rare species has once again been mentioned in the roadmap for Sunbreak in this update. We've already gotten 3 of them in the last one, and the general rule that we've learned is that a rare species of a monster can appear if their regular version is already in Rise. And one monster that fits that bill is the Tigrex, and with that comes his explosive cousin in the Molten Tigrex. Molten Tigrex is a monster that first appeared all the way back in Monster Hunter 4, and a monster I have not fought yet, so his inclusion would not only make sense, but it will be an exciting occasion for myself. But once again, another rule that we should also learn is that any sort of speculation should be taken as such. Like with the Mitsu, we may not get this Molten Tigrex in the end, and it'll probably be something completely different, so never get your hopes up, but always be open to the unexpected. And with this video out of the way, thank you so much for watching. It has been 2 weeks since my last upload, so sorry about me slacking, but I will try on my weekly uploads again. Make sure to voice your opinions down below, leave a like at the end of the video, and until next time.